Welcome to Discovering. When deer season ends, it's time to put away the rifle and dig the shotgun back out for some late season grouse hunting.
They like to feed on the older aspen this time of year. It starts to bud up for them.
And Kristen was in Escanaba for a taste of a common UP Christmas gift.
Dark chocolate.
Stick around, it's Monday night and time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak, surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
It's December in the UP. You wouldn't know it by looking at the ground. It's a great time to get out in the woods and hunt. I'm out with Dennis Stakowitz of Aspen Thicket Grouse Dogs for some late season grouse. I was out with Dennis back in 2014. The obvious difference this time? No snow.
Well, here we are in late season in central Upper Peninsula today. We're going to take a couple of dogs out. It's good to be back. Actually have one of the dogs from our previous show. We have Panzer, who is now 12 years old. He was like 6 years old the last time we did any shows, but he doesn't really act like he's 12. He's been a really good dog for us. He sired a couple of litters. We have his son Scout with us today as well, and we'll throw him down and see if we can't find some of these late season birds. It should be a good day. We don't have any wind or anything today. Just a little bit of breeze. We're in a good area. Should be a lot of fun. His son is not gonna like being left behind. We run a bell on him. I don't run a beeper anymore, but when he goes on point, this will tell us where he's on point at. But most important thing is sometimes these dogs get out from you quite a bit, and when they do, it's good to know where they're at. It's about $800 worth of insurance that's well accounted for when we go out in the woods. So what do you think, Pans? You ready to go, buddy? I think he's ready to rock. He's kind of semi-retired now. He's the house dog since his mother Gretchen passed away. She had a great run, 15 years and 10 months, but he still likes to get out and find them birds every now and then. We've had a really great season this year. Bird numbers were really up. At least I felt in the areas I hunted. We had a really good nesting season this year. We did not get a lot of rain. It was pretty dry for the most part until those chicks were old enough to survive on their own. And then when it rained, it was warm and we had a lot of insects. And look at that, that's a pretty fresh rub right there. Another great reason to be out in the woods today, huh? You see stuff like that. Probably a nice buck. Oh, I got a point. Past couple of days, they've been flushing really kind of like silent, just softly. And I think it's because of so much pressure this year. They get to this point of the year, they kind of adapt. And a lot of them, you'll see, they only go like 3-4 feet off the ground. And they go kind of silently and they don't go far because they'd rather run because they don't have a lot of cover. A lot of where we're heading in to hunt here, they like to feed on the older aspen. This time of year, it starts to bud up for them. They got to have cover, and the thermal cover comes from these spruce trees. It's good to get into an area that has not all pines, but a good mixture. This is a good example right here of something that they feed on. This is like a beaked hazel, and they feed on these catkins or these buds, hey? And they'll fill up on these, and then if you look down here, there's some greens. a little bit of leftover wild strawberry. They eat that stuff. You know, they'll come out and go along these trails, butt on this stuff. They'll butt on those at night. You know, I see a lot of people, sometimes they go around at night looking for them, butt them in the trees and stuff and take them out of there, which is fine. This is all, you know, late season hunting sometimes gets a bad rap because people think that like you're taking away too many birds, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's called like compensatory mortality. 85% of these birds are gonna die regardless, and the actual hunting portion of it is such a small dent in the population that it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can, you know, in some of the southern states, West Virginia, you can hunt them till the end of February, and it really does not put that detrimental effect on the population. They are out here in the wild. A lot of them are gonna die anyhow, so the hunting aspect of it, having it through December, doesn't really hurt at all. So he established point, and it wasn't really hot scent, but what he's doing now, he tracked it for a while, couldn't pick it up, so then he broke off real big to come back around and see what he's gonna get in this area. My bet was kind of gonna be up in this pine area. I thought he might have tracked in there, so I'm gonna head up over here and check it out. It looks like he's tracking in there now. This is essentially like November. I mean, here we have no snow down here in the central UP, and you know, typically late season you're at least coming through a foot of snow or something. It makes it really, really hard. It's hard scenting for the dogs because you have the snow, and even though you think it's humid, it's not. It's actually drier for the dogs when you have a lot of snow, and hard to walk through. So this is almost like a gift, eh? I mean, being able to late season hunt like this is definitely something that's really, really cool. You know, I've always looked at this grouse hunting like it's an early inheritance for us, right? And how we spend it is up to us. And spending time in the woods is definitely cashing a good check. Let's go, bud. One of the things I like to do this time of year too is I like to stay on the higher ground. If we had one of those rare sunny days, then birds like to capture the sun. So you think about this time of year, stuff that has the southern exposure that's going to hit the sun and the higher points, those are where those birds are going to hang out because they can soak up that sun, even the solar energy that comes through the clouds that they can pick up. It saves them from having to burn energy. So I'm not saying don't hit the lower areas, but definitely you can stay on these ridge tops. You're more often to find the birds there, and they'll only fly down to escape. Missed it. It was way up ahead of him. Another one?
Another one.
3? There'll probably be more. Let's go down there.
There's 4.
You know, a lot of times you see a bird fly, and when it goes straight away from you, if you shoot, whether you hit it or not, you know, it may go out of sight, but what not a lot of people know, those birds almost never fly straight. When they get to where they're kind of going to go, they are genetically programmed to go left or right to try and avert their prey. So if you see a bird flush and you want to follow it up and do a reflush later on, or if you think you hit it, you need to make a really, really wide circle around that bird instead of going straight to where you think it flushed to, because they always make that hook. Unless they're going up in a tree. Other than that, they're always going to make a hook on you. I think they say the average grouse flush is about 40 yards, so that's average, right? That could be 20 to 100, somewhere in there. But we did shoot at a grouse here. We'll take a big wide berth and follow it up, and always want to try and play the wind when you go for that follow-up. You have fun? it a good day? It's always a good day, old man. Oh, hey. We'll hunt Scout. He's a little bit faster than Panzer because he's younger. A little different cover than we hunted before. There's a little bit more pine in this one. But one of the key components, there's some autumn olive and stuff in here. That's generally pretty good. And then we're gonna work our way back to an aspen cut. We'll probably see them birds in the cut, but they can come off and roost in here and they're pretty well protected. And you flush as many as you want in here, you better be a really good shot because they go through these pines. It's hard to get them. He was acting goofy, eh? See that? 0 for 3 today. That thing was up in the tree. He was on point about 42 yards away from us. He was relocating on a bird and he couldn't pin it down because it was up in the tree. And when he finally figured it was up in the tree, then he spun around and let me know. And of course I missed because it came out of the tree because I saw it when it flushed. But we've actually had 3 birds in here, so let's follow them up. There goes one. He bumped it, but he pointed after the fact. Let me go see if there isn't another one right here. They might be grouped up. Might be another one. Go over there. I let my dogs relocate on birds. He's very young. This is only his 3rd hunting season. He's only 2 years old. I let them self-relocate. I don't care if they bump birds. If they bump birds, I don't shoot them. But eventually they're gonna be able to handle those running birds. He ran that bird, I think about 100 yards. We never picked it up. He came all the way down to this swamp edge. He relocated, I wanna say about 10 times, figure something like that. Okay, when he got down here, the wind is coming this way. He broke off and he went about 80 yards downwind and then came back through the wind to see if that bird peeled off to the side. That kind of stuff you can't train for with a dog. That's genetics and brains to be able to do something like that. And he's picking up that experience now. I don't think I got it. Man, that was some good dog work. He's not flushing the birds. They flushed, I want to say probably 30, 40 yards out in front of us. One went and then another 2 went, so they all go. I mean, that's late season, tough birds, you know. Sometimes they sit tight depending on the cover, but more often than not, they're pressured and they go. But you know, you've been watching the dog work. You let the dog do his thing. Don't kill the ones he mishandles. You're gonna have a better dog in the long run. I mean, it's been a good day. We've been out for 2 hours and 15 minutes and we've flown 13 grouse. Not a bad day at all, okay? I just can't hit anything.
We're in the home stretch of last-minute Christmas shopping. What's the perfect gift for anyone on your list? Chocolate. And when you think of chocolate in the UP, you think of Saykley's. That's because this small, family-owned candy store in Escanaba has been around for 114 years.
Sakeley's has been a destination for gift buying, for gift giving, and the candies, of course. We ship them all over the world. It's a go-to gift for teachers, for priests, for secretaries, doctors, nurses, whatever. That's like a go-to thing. If you're not sure that's always going to go over very well.
We have the big Whoppers. We do a big deal for stocking stuffers. Yeah, we have a nice selection. The beauty too is our candy is made just right in town, so everything is fresh. You get it pretty much right off the shelf. It's brand new, fresh. The big rage for candy these days is sea salt. So we have dark sea salt, seafoam. Our probably next to the Snappies is our dark caramel with sea salt. It's really popular.
I met 4 generations of the Sakeley family in their downtown Escanaba store, still in its original location.
So the store started in 1906. My great-grandfather came over from Lebanon, and his wife that he met here also did, and they started this shop.
I say I grew up in the store. In those days, it was real simple. We used to have ice cream, and he used to make homemade ice cream, and we had a soda fountain here, and we had our homemade chocolates that we had.
All their kids worked here. My grandma was the 9th of 9.
Go see a movie and come back to the store and then wait on the customers, because we had a counter and had stools there. And that's where I met my husband. He came in and sat at the stool, and of course I made him extra special malted, because that's what he liked.
My great-grandfather, her grandpa, started making candies, and just a couple things at a time. The cream taffy swirls, that was the first candy they made.
Cream taffy, and we used to had a hook like this, and they put the cream taffy on it, and they keep turning it and turning it and turning, and it would turn to white. It kept moving it, and they're stretching it out and everything. And then we'd individually wrap it too, at that time. But now machinery does it now. But we did everything by hand.
And eventually it broke into, the fudge and the chocolate-covered nuts and Snappies. That's our coined phrase, because, a turtle is a different trademark, I think. So they started calling them Snappies to really set us apart. And so we've got the pecan and the cashew. My favorite are the peanut, and we have macadamia. The chocolate is so creamy and so delicious, dark milk, white. Everybody has their favorite.
Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate.
They had the soda fountain making the ice cream and everything until 1969.
Yes.
And then her aunties who own the store, Joe and Marge, they expanded the gift line after that. While my grandma's brother, my great uncle, broke off and did the candy business.
I worked at the candy shop. My brother owned a candy shop, and we hand dipped all our chocolates, and on a marble slab. We had to make sure that the slab was a certain temperature, so it couldn't be too cold, it couldn't be too warm. We worked the chocolate, and then the boxes that they have now, we hand packed them. Everything was hand packed.
He invented the Youper Bar, which, we're calling ourselves the home of the Youper Bar now. So a lot of people come here just for that, if that's the one thing they know about Saykley's. And in 1983, my mom, who's the 3rd generation, and my dad, they took over.
Well, I was fortunate enough to work in the store when I was a young girl. I started probably when I was 14. And my 2 aunts, my mom's sisters, owned the store at the time, and I just worked with them. They pretty much took me under their wing and showed me how to do it. Their main focus was always customer service. It still is. So it's pretty cool to know that your grandfather started this in 1906, then your aunts took over, and now we have it. Then my daughter and her little daughter, the next generation, and our little grandson. It's amazing. And to know my mom is still around and talk about it. She's 92, and we're just very proud of the fact that we own Sakeley's, plus it's still in town.
And it's been passed down not only from our family through generations, but through all of our customers through their generations, where people who knew my great-grandparents would come in, and then their kids, and then their kids, and then their kids. And we hear those stories weekly.
Let's go with 1 dark caramel, dark mint Oreo. What's in the back there? A couple dark mint cookies.
Okay.
Peanut butter cookies.
This is a destination place for a lot of people when they travel. A lot of people will say, oh, make sure you go to Saykley's, or they have to bring Saykley's back to their friends and family at home. And, we're really proud of that.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.